You're watching Middle East Matters. I'm Hala Mohideen, bringing you the best reports from across the region. Coming up in today's show, the US urges Turkey and the Kurds to stop fighting each other and start fighting together. Syrian refugees are heading to Egypt, the latest potential launching point to claiming asylum in Europe. And we get inked in Bethlehem at a tattoo parlour doing a roaring trade. We begin, however, in Syria, where the US has urged Turkey and the Kurdish YPG to stop fighting each other and start working together. Washington is eager for both parties to set aside their differences and focus their firepower on the Islamic State group. But weekend clashes on the Syrian battlefield have left the US caught in the middle of an ugly diplomatic three-way.
The diplomatic headache is worsening for Washington as its two allies turn on each other. US-backed Syrian Kurdish forces clashed with Turkish troops as both sides attempt to retake territory from the Islamic State group in northern Syria. The United States warned against undermining their ultimate goal.
These actions were not coordinated with the United States, and we are not providing any support to them. We call on all the armed actors on the ground to maintain a focus on Daesh, or ISIL as they're otherwise known, which remains a lethal and common threat.
The US backs the Kurdish YPG fighters as an effective ground force against the jihadist group, but also needs NATO ally Turkey's help in keeping up the pressure on the militants. Ankara, though, maintains that the YPG is its #1 security threat and shouldn't be allowed to spread.
In areas it's moved in, the YPG's forcing everyone out, including Kurds who don't think like them, and carrying out ethnic cleansing.
Turkey has tried for 30 years to counter a homegrown insurgency from the outlawed Kurdistan Workers' Party. As the Kurds gain more territory along Turkey's border with Syria, many have raised questions over whether Ankara will attempt to thwart any more major advances by the YPG.
Well, after all the drama in Turkey over recent weeks, something to celebrate, with President Recep Tayyip Erdogan unveiling one of the world's biggest suspension bridges. The Yavuz Sultan Selim Bridge creates a new link between Asia and Europe, spanning the two continents with pylons higher than the Eiffel Tower. Well, it's all part of Erdogan's infrastructure drive, which the president hopes will boost economic growth and also help leave his mark on the country. Well, one such project he's been personally overseeing is the Kamlika Mosque in Istanbul. The mega mosque will be the largest in the country once it's completed, but has drawn protest from architects, urban planners and environmentalists.
At 15,000 square metres in size and designed to hold 60,000 worshippers, Istanbul's towering Kamlika Mosque nears completion. Under construction since 2013, the site also includes a library, a museum and conference centre.
Bu anlamda bir ilk.
It's a first because of its size. It's the largest mosque built during the Republican era, and also because of the complexity of the structure.
Cumhuriyet döneminde yapılan en büyük cami.
Turkey's President Erdogan has personally supervised the build, which has forged ahead despite protests from architects, urban planners and environmentalists who complain that a site of natural beauty has been bulldozed.
It's a natural environment that needs to be protected. But even if it is completed in Turkey when political power wants to finish a project, it does.
And from the opposite bank of the Bosphorus, the Kamlika Mosque is impossible to ignore. Some like it, others complain that Istanbul has plenty of mosques already.
In Istanbul, you can't say that we do things out of necessity. There are mosques everywhere, schools and hospitals, and I don't think this one is necessary.
To tell the truth, I didn't think it would get done, but I think it's nice. Let God thank those who built it. It's beautiful.
Together with the newly opened $9 billion Osman Ghazi Bridge and a planned third crossing over the Bosphorus, the mosque is yet another mega project Erdogan hopes will boost the Turkish economy. After the country's recent failed coup and terrorist attacks, a boost is just what Turkey needs.
Now, for Syrian refugees fleeing their war-torn country, the Balkan route used to be one of the safest ways into Europe. However, with many countries clamping down and the EU-Turkey border deal blocking their path, Syrians have been looking for other routes to safety. The dangerous Libyan crossing is one perilous option, but increasing numbers of refugees are trying an alternative route out of Egypt. This report from our team in Cairo and Alexandria.
Today, Mahmoud and Fares are going to meet their friend Sharif. The three live together with their families in small apartments on the outskirts of Alexandria, the largest port city in northern Egypt. This is where Syrians travelling to Europe gather.
I'll try again soon. The living conditions are too harsh here. It's time to leave for a better life. I cannot find work and I have to get my daughter to school to get a good education. This is not possible in Egypt.
Since the recent closure of the Aegean Sea and Balkans routes, following an agreement between the EU and Turkey, there is a new influx of refugees to Egypt, most of them Syrians. And in Alexandria, like in Cairo, it has never been easier to prepare a trip to Europe. Facebook, WhatsApp, Telegram, the smugglers are using the latest technology of today, including social media. When we asked one of them if the voyage was risky, this is what he answered.
Your life's in safe hands, of course. The boat will be big and strong, not overloaded. And believe me, it'll work. The ship will wait 2 or 3 kilometers offshore. In fact, you won't take it immediately. You'll first take a small boat that'll take you to the bigger one. Then it'll take you 4 days to reach Europe.
In the UNHCR offices in Cairo, Tariq receives refugees who have come to be registered.
It's true that we have testimonials from people who plan to go to Europe or to another country, to have access maybe to a better education for their children, or to get a decent job.
Welcoming and integrating the migrants is the goal of this small organisation, which offers professional training for refugees. Although migrants are not officially allowed to work, the authorities turn a blind eye to these small jobs, allowing them to keep their livelihoods. One of the leaders of the programme comes to visit Abdullah, a young Syrian refugee who has just finished training.
Abdullah was trained to repair mobile phones at our last session. Integrating refugees is one of the most important points of our project, and he's the best example. He works in an Egyptian shop, and he's Syrian.
If I had not undergone this training, I could not have found work. This training is really of great help because otherwise finding work is very complicated.
At night, in his small flat in the outskirts of Cairo, Abdullah is back with his brothers. Despite successfully integrating into Egypt, all three of them dream of a different future. Like their eldest sibling, who left illegally and who now lives in Denmark. Since the beginning of the year, over 1,000 illegal immigrants have arrived in Italy on ships which left from Egypt. With the war in Libya, the Balkans crossing closed, refugees have started a new route from Egypt, even if it is one of the most dangerous.
And we'll finish up in Bethlehem, where many pilgrims pass through, armed with candles and rosaries. But for those who see religion as something more than skin deep, tattoo artist Walid Aisha is there to help.
Electric needles, multicolored ink, and a background of electronic music. Welcome to Bethlehem, in the Palestinian territories. Christians believe that this is where Jesus was born. But for the past 12 years, the area has also been known for its self-taught tattoo artist, Walid Ayash.
At the very beginning, when I got the idea, I started to draw tattoos with a manual machine. I really loved it, and I started reading up about tattoos on the internet, and eventually started to draw tattoos regularly. Everybody was laughing at me. They were asking me, "What do you think you're doing?" Today, it's become my main income.
Walid, a father of 4, specializes in Christian-themed designs. Most of his clients are pilgrims from Egypt, Iraq, and Armenia. After visiting the Church of the Nativity, just meters from Walid's studio, they get a tattoo as part of their pilgrimage. One tradition for Egypt's Coptic Christians is to have a small cross inked on their wrist.
Today, it's not like before. We have a wide variety of designs. We provide our clients with around 140 or 150 designs. Most people come here, and while I work on their tattoo, they pray and they sing religious songs.
Others, like 13-year-old Florentino Sayer, are local teenagers who believe that religion can be trendy.
I just got a tattoo. It's the inscription, "Thy will be done," and there's a cross next to it.
And Walid is expanding his business to include non-religious tattoos too. He has decided to open a new studio in secular Ramallah, the Palestinian political capital. Walid hopes his design will tempt the city's hip young population and boost business even more.
And that brings us to the end of this week's Middle East Matters. Thanks for joining us. Lots more still to come here on France 24. Do stay with us for the rest of the world news headlines.